Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
WWE Backlash 2018 predictions. It's big, which is why the jacket is back on WrestleRamble. I'm Oli Davis, this is Luke Owen, and today we're going to be going through our Backlash predictions for this Sunday. An event I don't know if you've been made aware of. It's the best of both brands.
Oh, it's the best of both brands.
It's the best of both brands!
And it started tonight. That song gets stuck in my
What
head
a
like
song.
no one's business.
What a song. Not in Saudi Arabia. They don't like that song.
They weren't keen on it.
They weren't keen on the video accompanying
They
it.
did not appreciate the genius of that promo. The single greatest promo to hype dual-branded pay-per-views that has ever been produced.
I mean, it's a slim pool to pick from, but even if it was more diverse, this would still be far head and shoulders above.
Does those other promos have Jeff Hardy going, "We want it all," and not even saying it, mouthing along to those lines?
Yep, and does it have Carmella feigning dehydration? That was hilarious.
Oh, so good.
Just carried on afterwards. Nia Jax's moves,
Yeah.
which is like a bit of that, isn't it?
And we can do this quite easily because we've got the headphones on. This is going to be phenomenal. Like, stuff like that. The
anyway.
Usos fighting over them. Oh, it's just every shot in that is so good.
Luke, this is where we lose viewers because we build it. Here's the prediction show. We're going to go through our predictions, and people are like, oh, I can't wait for this succinct rundown of who Luke and Ollie think are going to win matches this weekend. And we just start talking about the single greatest promo to hype dual-branded pay-per-views ever.
Yeah, it's just riffing, man. Just sometimes you got to riff.
Maybe we
As
should
Ellis
start
and John would say. Ellis
every.
and Jane.
What are you doing?
Sorry.
Maybe we should start every show with just a little tribute to that brilliant song. We haven't spoken about it for about a week and a half.
I know.
And it's just all that love has come rushing back to me.
Rushing back, that's what she said. But anyway, should we go through this card?
Okay.
It's an 8-match card, so we're recording this on a Wednesday. There might be a match announced for the pre-show, but I don't even know if there is a pre-show. But there could be.
Oh, I hope there isn't a pre-show. I'm sick of pre-shows.
Well, if I remember correctly, didn't they say the new format of pay-per-views moving forward, now that they are these dual brand, the best of both brands, is that pay-per-views are now 4 hours long, and then like the big shows like Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series, those are 5-hour shows with the hour-long kickoff. So is it just that these are just 4-hour shows now?
I don't know.
Or is it going to be a 3-hour show?
The brand, the sole brand pay-per-views ran for about 3 hours. That was kind of your max level there. Sometimes, I think Hell in a Cell went 2 hours 40 minutes. So sometimes they go less. And they had between 7 and 8 matches. So I'm hopeful that this will be a 3-hour thing. I just feel like all the pay-per-views have been astoundingly long recently. And I'm looking forward to it coming out of the craziness of WrestleMania season, and we can get back to 3-hour shows.
Well, let's see. I mean, I'm excited because this show is T to B, top to bottom, singles matches, and 1 tag match. Not only that, there's no gimmicks on this show, with the exception of 1 match.
Yes. For after WrestleMania and Fastlane and Elimination Chamber, it was 6-mans, 4-mans, triple threats. Any others?
Elimination Chamber matches.
Elimination Chamber matches.
It's just nice to just have a card.
Royal Rumble? There were 50 people in the last one.
We have had 2 Royal Rumble matches this year already.
80 people.
80 people have been thrown over the top rope. Well, 78 have been thrown over the top rope. But let's start at the bottom of the card. This was announced on Monday night. A match I didn't even know had been announced, and I thought Ollie Davis was taking the piss when he told me it was actually on the card. It's Brawny the Strowman and Bobby Lashley taking on Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, which, if those taking notes at home, was on Raw 2 weeks ago.
Yes, I mean, well, that's the intrigue, right? Because Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman have now beaten Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn 2 weeks ago. On this week's 6-man tag, Braun Strowman pinned Kevin Owens. This is the time that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn get their own back. What a build! What a tremendous way to make you excited about the heels finally overcoming the baby faces.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on this match? Apart, who's coming out on top, rather?
I think it's as much as I love Owens and Zayn, and as much as they desperately need a win moving to another brand, it's got to be Strowman. The business is not even Bobby Lashley. Braun Strowman needs to win this match. And I understand the arguments for everyone else and that they need their own kind of momentum, but Braun Strowman is money. He's the biggest star in the company really right now. He's the one that needs to be protected the most because he's the one down the line who's going to have the most return on investment. At the moment, it looks like that way. So I'm going to quite confidently say Strowman and Lashley.
I am also saying the same thing. I just don't see Owens and Zayn pulling out a win here.
Yeah.
It's not as much as as you said, they could do with a win because they haven't done anything since coming to Raw or SmackDown other than be beaten up by either Braun Strowman or Bobby Lashley, and in some cases at the same time. But yeah, I think it's more likely that Braun and Bobby are winning here.
And hopefully Lashley gets to do something after this, like a proper feud rather than just a tag team partner. Next up, we've got Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass in a grudge singles match.
Grudge-ish singles match,
grudge-ish. Well, I think this has turned into quite a nice little blood feud. Not blood, it's turned into a feud.
It has turned into a feud.
Which is what you would hope for in a wrestling match.
I'm intrigued by this. It's going to be Cass's first match back since injury, and it's going to be Daniel Bryan's first singles match on pay-per-view since his return from injury. So this is why we keep saying that it's probably not the best use of your Daniel Bryan. However, I think this might actually end up being pretty good. And I am going with a Big Cass win.
Whoa, really?
Well, I think that they are delaying the Bryan-Miz feud until SummerSlam, because that seems like a bigger match to have than just have it at Money in the Bank. So maybe you get the Big Cass win here, and so you can have Bryan overcome him at a later date before moving on to the Miz feud.
Oh, God, that sounds unappealing. So you wouldn't even have... would you book it dirty so Miz could help Cass win?
Or like if Cass just cheats on his own, like he doesn't need Miz to have him win. He could just win, a hook of the tides or something like that. That you could just tell the story that Daniel Bryan is out wrestling him, he's out maneuvering him, and because the whole story has been that Big Cass is tall and that's his thing, and Daniel Bryan isn't good because he is short. So you tell this sort of David and Goliath story, but Cass still needs to cheat to beat Daniel Bryan, and then he can go like, "Told you I was better than him."
God, Big Cass should be wrestling Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy would lose nothing if Big Cass beat him, like titles aside and everything. But why would you book Daniel Bryan and Big Cass? Like two people. Yeah. Big Cass needs a win. He's just come back. He's got a new character. This is good for him. Daniel Bryan, you don't want to beat him. You don't want to derail this momentum now. He's just come back after 3 years out. People want to see him win. But my
argument is that you will see him win. It's just if this is the first chapter of a feud, because it doesn't feel like this is just like a short-term thing. I think they're going to elongate this just to delay the Miz feud even further.
So just to be clear, this is what you think WWE's mindset is, not what you want.
Yes. I very much
think.
Oh yeah, I mean I don't want Daniel Bryan to lose. I think that would be an idiotic thing to do. And I'm hopeful that Daniel Bryan does win. But I do think that this is a feud that is going to continue. So therefore, I'm going for a Big Cass win here.
It's not cut and dry. So you're going Cass.
I'm going Cass.
SmackDown has built faith in me in 3 weeks. It's not the longest track record, but it is one of positivity. I'm gonna say Daniel Bryan. I'm gonna go with my heart.
And I think, do you know what? And you going with your heart has actually often led you to better results than I have with potential logic. Because that's the other thing as well, is that Big Cass losing here, that hurts his character. And it kind of destroys his character that we've only been building for these last couple of weeks. If he just gets beaten in his first attempt, then it just that. Where does he go from there? But Daniel Bryan will always be over, so it won't overly hurt Daniel Bryan, particularly if Cass cheats to win.
I get you. I do agree. I'm looking at this from a. I'm hoping WWE are looking at this from a money-making perspective. Especially they've got Samoa Joe and Shinsuke Nakamura on SmackDown. Those are your two top heels. Mm-hmm. Do you really need a Big Cass in there, or do you make this other babyface along with AJ as Daniel Bryan?
But again, that comes back to that argument. Well, not an argument. That discussion we had the other week. Is this Big Cass going into the main event, or is it Daniel Bryan going down into the mid-card?
I don't even want to think about it that much.
Okay.
Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe.
I went first. You're up.
This is an interesting one because, likewise, Samoa Joe's been really, really good. So usually in a feud, if the heel keeps calling out the babyface for unfulfilling their promises, the way you would book that logically is for the babyface to then make good on a promise and defeat the heel and show the heel as really the one who can't fulfill promises. So it's a Roman Reigns win for me, I'm afraid. Which is... But how great would it be if Joe won? So I'm going with my head rather than my heart.
So you're going for a Roman Reigns win here. So I like you think this is a very interesting one in that you are right. The storyline has been that the heel is saying that the babyface is wrong. So in storyline logic, the babyface should overcome this heel and therefore win. However, Samoa Joe has just set himself up as the next next contender to the WWE Championship. So you don't want him losing on pay-per-view. This is Joe's first pay-per-view match back since his injury.
Yeah, of course.
It's his first pay-per-view match of 2018.
We're not counting Grrr as a pay-per-view match.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, absolutely, yeah. But, okay, his first singles match. So, you don't really want Joe winning either. So I actually wonder whether you go to almost like a no... Like, I wonder if referee Chad Patton is going to be the referee again, and he makes another blunderous call, and Roman Reigns then has that, so he can go into Raw again and be like, look, that's another bad call here, and you could turn that into the storyline that Roman is getting screwed out of these wins. So I'm actually going to go the opposite of you. I don't know if I'm going to go for a Samoa Joe win, or do I go for like a DQ or a double DQ? A DQ
this is
could
one
work.
of two interbrand matches.
Yeah.
So this is Raw versus SmackDown.
Yeah, can I go for... I'm going to go for Roman Reigns wins... no, I'm going for... Oh, it's tense. It's not really that tense. I'm going for a double DQ.
Double DQ? That is risky.
It is risky. It is risky.
That is disky.
It is disky.
Carmella versus Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I went first last time.
Carmella retains.
Yeah, I think Carmella retains too. Too early to take it off her. And
the act is too good at the moment.
Yeah, and she should win by cheating. And
100%.
Then she can carry on this thing like, I've done it all by myself. I mean, I guess the way you would further that is Iconics interference.
Yeah, I mean, I would actually just go straight for a Carmella. Iconics interference certainly works. But you don't want to do too many. Like, cause I've just said that Big Cass could win by cheating. You don't want to do too many heels winning by cheating. So I think that just devalues the. If you do it more than once, it really does devalue the finish.
Yeah. You also don't want the Iconics to just become Carmella's lackeys.
Exactly.
Although, watching WrestleMania X7, Kurt Angle and Edge and Christian, that was a good little trio they had.
Mm-hmm.
Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss, singles match for the WWE Raw Women's Championship. I think Nia Jax retains here.
As do I.
Yes, because, again, you can't have Alexa Bliss doing these fake bullying stories. Bliss's run with the title is... that's finished now. Should be for a while as well. This is a chance to build up someone else. And after that Nia Jax Ronda Rousey stare down, that's...
You want to do it that soon?
No. I mean, you build to it eventually.
Oh, okay.
Because Rousey's got to, I assume, go through Mickie James and then Natalya.
Mm-hmm.
Seems that to be the route for her. Nia Jax can maybe face Ember Moon for a bit. I see Nia Jax and Ronda Rousey as a SummerSlam match, with Rousey going over, and Rousey holds that belt until maybe a champion versus champion, Charlotte versus Rousey
at
match
WrestleMania.
at WrestleMania next year.
Yeah, I could certainly see that. I was actually about to ask you who you think that Nia Jax's next challenger could be, because that's one of the things I think that Raw hasn't done particularly well in its women's division. It hasn't built up who is going to be next after Alexa, like who's next in line, because of their other heels, it is Mickie. And I don't know if they have any other heels on the SmackDown women's side of things.
Natalya soon. And you can play like babyface Ember coming up against Nia.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be
a heel. But even then, I don't think it certainly isn't Sasha. It certainly isn't Bayley. Sasha Bayley again isn't on this card.
I forgot they were contracted to WWE. Wow.
Everyone thought that feud was going to culminate at WrestleMania, or they were going to have a match at WrestleMania, and they was like, oh, if it's not happening at WrestleMania, it's going to happen at Backlash. Now we are at Backlash. It still isn't happening. It's gonna be the longest feud ever to ever lead to a match. No, actually, they had that Goldust R-Truth one that built for ages as well. I could certainly see Ember Moon. Also, on your thing, I wonder if they're going to do Rousey Natalya at SummerSlam, and then do Rousey winning the championship at Survivor Series.
Could do that as well. Yeah. Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton for the United States title.
It's me to go first, isn't it? I am going for a Jeffrey Hardy retention.
A Jeffrey Hardy retention.
Yes.
Yeah, same here. I mean, there's not much to say about this feud. It's been based on interrupting each other's entrances slightly.
Mm-hmm.
And as they said on this week's Ms. TV segment, mutual agreement. That's the big go-home angle, which I personally enjoyed. It's just the interesting stat. So this is, on this week's SmackDown, this was the first tag match Jeff and Randy Orton have ever been in on the same team in their, 40 decades of combined wrestling.
Really? Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah. But it doesn't tie into the match at all. Yeah.
But I'm so glad you brought it up, though.
I'm not, now I've said it. I'm not even 100% sure that was the fact.
Do you know what? Someone will correct you.
Yeah. No, but people just take it as granted, don't they, when you say things? They don't go out and check stuff. Seth Rollins versus The Miz for the other mid-card title. This is the other SmackDown versus Raw interbrand match. It's for the Intercontinental title. Seth and Miz, me first.
Yes, you're
It's
up.
got to be a Seth retention.
Got to be a Seth retention, right?
Just the United States title, IC title, wouldn't work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this is very much a Seth Rollins retention here to carry on to his feud with Balor, particularly if Balor does turn heel.
Yeah, maybe Balor runs in here and costs Rollins the match. It's also I could see
you do love a run in and cost a match.
Running a mania if I was booking this.
Vince Russo
Low
over
blows, ladder matches, and brass nuts. That's me. If it was both mid-card titles going to Raw, I could almost see that happening. So the Intercontinental title and the United States title to Raw, because Brock isn't around a lot with the Universal title. It's a 3-hour show, but there's no way they're putting the US and the IC belts on the 2-hour SmackDown.
Yeah.
You would gut Raw of its one men's singles title that's around.
Yeah.
But I guess they could always create the New York title or insert
the Madison
geographical
Square Garden
location,
Championship.
the Bruno Sammartino Memorial Belt.
Yes, there you go.
And what I think and should be the main event.
Oh, this 100% will be the main event.
Given that Reigns and Joe doesn't have a title attached to it. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura in a
no
disqualification match for the WWE title. I am really looking forward to this bout. I know you said you weren't because we saw it at Greatest Royal Rumble, but I thought that was a nice match to set up a match.
Yes, I completely agree with you. And I've actually really enjoyed the build to this match, and I think that this is going to be the match that people might have been expecting at WrestleMania, because I think this is the blow off to their feud. I think this is the end of. I'm going to put I'm going to put money on the line.
You're going to put money?
I said I'm not going to put money on the line. However, I'm going to make another prediction. Our title for the Backlash pay-per-view when we do the WrestleRamble is what next for Shinsuke Nakamura?
Without the title?
Because I think AJ is retaining.
So
with the booking I gave you the other week, where he goes to do the phenomenal ball arm, and AJ is wearing a metal cup, and that leads to the finish.
It is almost too obvious that they haven't already introduced a cup or talked about it. Maybe Corey Graves made a joke. Yeah, I could see that happening, because when they go completely quiet on something that's very obvious, it is usually because they're going to do a swerve reveal of it later on. I don't know, man. There's a lot of... So all the matches we've listed, none of them we've had as title changes. I have read on a few rumours that there are no title changes expected for the show. But I also think Nakamura is absolute fire right now.
He is a fire emoji right now. But the other thing as well is that you and I, we convinced ourselves that something big was going to happen at Greatest Royal Rumble. We completely worked ourselves into thinking there was going to be title changes, out of the wazoo.
I certainly did.
Yeah, and in the end, I was like, I gave some predictions. Like at the Intercontinental Championship match, I was like, oh, Finn wins, just because we think there might be some title changes, because we thought something might actually happen on the show. And I think the Backlash is going to be the same thing. I don't think there's going to be a massive amount of real earth-shattering changes within this show. I think it will be a very good show, though, wrestling-wise, across the board. I think it should be a very strong show. But I don't think we're going to see any big title changes. This does mean as well that Shinsuke Nakamura has failed to win the WWE Championship in every single time he's attempted, which I'm almost certain is upwards in the 20s by now, with all those Jinder Mahal matches he had last year. But I think AJ is retaining here, particularly if he's going to be moving into a program with Samoa Joe, which they sort of set up on SmackDown.
God, it is tough. And how does the no DQ stipulation play into it as well?
Okay, can I do an addendum to my finish?
Yeah.
Shinsuke goes to do the low blow. AJ does sell it, but then he stands up, he reveals the metal cup. Kick to the dick. He low blows him. He gets the low blow himself, and either gets the pin off that, or maybe the Styles Clash or the phenomenal forearm, and gets the win. And that's how you that's how you tie the no DQ element into it.
It's a testament to SmackDown's booking that I really don't know who's going to win, and there are multiple ways it could go, and I would be happy with most of those outcomes.
100%.
So you've convinced me, I'm also going to go for AJ Styles. So
I apologise if I'm wrong.
We only differ on Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe, and Bryan and Big Cass. So it could still end up as a draw. What are the stakes of the predictions? Well, I guess we'll find out. But that's all we've got time for the prediction show. Please click the video beneath us to catch up with the latest WrestleTalk videos. And of course, subscribe to this YouTube channel and the podcast version, where there should be a little image you can click here to subscribe to that on iTunes, which is completely free, and you get exclusive intros and outros recorded by us. This has been Luke Owen, I've been Oli Davis, and that was Rambling.